Hi everybody, this is Bill from plusinterviews.com, and we have a special guest tonight, Fred Schafer. He's the creator of a new product called 50 Fit, and just wanted to say hi Fred, and how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, Bill. Thank you.
Good, thanks for jumping on the call. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity.
So I just wanted to start out, if you could give us a quick bio, a little intro of yourself, what you do, and what your just a high level of what your product is and who it is specifically for.
Okay, sure. Well, first of all, I am 56 years old. This year I will be 57 in a few short months, but I've actually been physical training since I was 14 years old, and my interest began, I was the proverbial skinny, weak, sickly kid, and but I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's been about in 8th grade. All my buddies were getting ready to go out for high school football, and in Pittsburgh, football's king, and I wanted to belong basically, and to give football a shot. But I also knew that I needed to do something if I was going to survive, let alone ever play. So I began to study. How do you, and actually one of the upperclassmen on the football team sat down one day and encouraged me. He had been basically in the same boat and had put on quite a bit of healthy body weight, and very strong guy and successful football player. So that inspired me, and I began to study it, and talked my parents into getting me a weight set. And Pittsburgh's cold in the winter, so up in my attic I just started working out and following a bodybuilding book. And for me, it was really cool because right away I began to see, for most everybody else probably didn't see it, but I began to experience improvement in my strength, my energy, my confidence. And I just thought, this is really, really awesome. I began to kind of see that, if you actually worked on something, you could get good results. So it became a big passion of mine. I became almost zealous about improving my nutrition, bugging my mom. Grew up with a family of 7 kids, and she made everything from scratch, but I started working on her eliminating sugars, increasing whole grains, all that stuff. And this became very passionate. So then when it came time for college, I set my sights on, I didn't really have a whole lot of confidence academically. I do now, but then I did not. So I went off to college to be a health and phys ed major, and at the time physical therapy was basically a new field. So, but I just didn't feel confident academically to do that. So I switched over to nutrition, got a bachelor's in food and nutrition, and but kind of lost sight of my passion. So I went into the restaurant industry. I'm giving you a long story short here. Restaurant industry for a long time, and then ended up in healthcare, working as a director of nutrition in healthcare. And something struck me, Bill, when I was in healthcare, and this, no disrespect to physicians or healthcare in general, but it was how many unhealthy people actually work in healthcare. And the physicians would come through the food service line and start asking me fitness questions because I was fit and fitter and stronger than most of them, and they asked me to start taking them to the gym and start training them and teaching them what I know. And then at the same time, it kind of occurred to me, I should charge them for my time, and found out you could get certified as a personal trainer. So I did that. And I actually got kind of excited, and I started working in a physical therapy clinic while I was working in the hospital. And then I was doing another job as the coordinator for health promotion in our town, going out into the homes of senior citizens and meeting all these senior citizens who were living very sad lives because they basically had lost all their muscle. So I had 3 things going on: working as director of nutrition in a hospital, seeing physicians and other healthcare workers who don't understand the basics of how to live, have a vibrant, healthy, strong body. Then I'm working in a physical therapy clinic dealing with broken down people. Then I'm out in the seniors' homes, all this at once. But living in a small town up in Northern California, personal training really wasn't a way to support a family at the time. A school district job opened up as a director of nutrition in the schools, and it was paying very well compared to what I was making. So I took that, and that led me into a whole other venue of everybody dealing with childhood obesity. I'm going to all these childhood obesity conferences all over the country. And finally, a big one in California, they brought in all these key health professionals from all over California and all these politicians to talk about how to improve childhood obesity. I went to this conference, and I'm sitting there in the audience, Bill, And I was actually brought in as a guest expert to get feedback on what they should set up. And I said, why don't you bring in some fitness trainers who know how to move people from deconditioned and unhealthy to well-conditioned and high performance. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
Brought in all these physicians and all these politicians. I'm in the audience and listening to this and actually getting a bit angry that nobody's addressing the root issues here. And so as I'm leaving the conference, the gal who was putting on the entire deal, who knows me and we actually respect each other, she pulled me aside. Fred, what do you think? I said, honestly, why don't you get somebody who knows what they're talking about?
Yeah, right.
Because I'm not hearing any solutions. It's deeper than changing a lunch. It's deeper than that. You have to go into goals, motivations, breaking down muscle tissue and movement patterns and all this stuff. And I said, why don't you get somebody who knows what you're talking about? And so she said, Fred, why don't you be that person? So it was kind of a challenge to me, and I may have taken a little bit long on this, but I wrote a speech and started giving it. And long story short, within 3 years, I'd spoken in 48 states at all types of health promotion events. And somebody said, Fred, you need to write a book. So in 2005, I wrote my first book, 350 pages, How Anyone Can Become a Lean, Fat, Incinerating, Anti-Aging Wellness Machine, which I know now is too long.
Yeah.
And so that is a good book, and I can still get it, but I felt like something was missing because I didn't really connect all the dots on here's 28 days that you can do. Mm-hmm. So and then at the same time, Bill, I'm out speaking in all these audiences, and what's happening is people are coming up to me and saying, Fred, what can I do? Especially people over the age of 50, men and women. I got my knees hurt, my back hurts, blah, 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 and I'm like,
yep.
Very frustrated because I'm sending them off to all these other fitness trainers who have great programs, mind you, but they're really for more of the person who's already sold and already a fitness, already understands fitness, strength training, etc. I did not see anything introductory that I could actually, with confidence, lead people to. So that's why I wrote 50 Fit. And I'm not sure if that's as far as my background goes. Most of my time now is spent writing and speaking. And so they go hand in hand, go very well. And I'm really enjoying it. I got 36 countries now 50 Fit has sold in, getting great testimonials back, so it's fulfilling.
Nice. Well, it was interesting when you talked about people in the healthcare industry. I remember we were talking earlier about when I was into heavy weightlifting, and I was around 200 pounds or so, and I was actually at it's something that we were doing at work at the time. It was like a fitness check. They did blood work and all that stuff. So they looked at my weight, and here I am with broad shoulders and a big chest and the fittest I'd been in my life. And the overweight doctor guy was sitting there looking at his paper, and he's like, well, you're a little bit heavy for your size. You might want to think about, cutting back on whatever it was. I can't remember. It was probably fat or something that he was talking about. But I just nodded my head and said, okay. But it was like literally, there was hardly any fat on me at all. Right. So it was interesting. And
yeah,
I've been around, other doctors with family members who've said the same thing. You can tell that they're smoking and, God only knows what they're eating to make them look so sick and heavy. But yeah, I get what you're saying. So I did have a question, though, about the when you were working for the school district. So when you did the speeches, was that specifically about childhood obesity, or was that just general?
No. Thanks for asking the question. No, that was my, one of my driving motivations was this. I was like, wait a second. We as adults are trying to teach and tell kids about obesity when look in the mirror. So I'm a bit of a smart aleck. But I would go to all these meetings, and I'm looking around at the people in the meetings, these adults, supposed experts, and it's not true of all of them. I don't want to overgeneralize here, but and then I would go to these child nutrition conferences, and I love the child nutrition folks, by the way, great people. But I would go to the conferences, and I'm looking at the audience thinking, we need to go first. I mean, the best way to inspire someone else is to be inspired yourself first. So I'm passionate about what I do because I live it, and I have forever. And I'm not claiming to be any rock star or anything. I'm just a guy who sticks with it and continually works at getting better. and that's all that's really needed. So to me, it's like, we don't need to talk about childhood obesity. We need to talk about adult fitness, high performance fitness, health, and wellness for people as adults. You start living it, you'll sell it all day long. Until you actually believe it and experience it for yourself, kids are looking at you thinking, yeah, right, sure.
Yeah.
That's my message.
Yeah, that's definitely a good message.
Yeah.